Hello, my name is Park Burnett, and I am going to be explaining my wall painting estimator in Java. I'm going to explain my background in programming because that's going to help me explain my thought process throughout this. I've been doing C language for microcontrollers for the past year through the electronics program, so I'm used to more of the mannerisms that go into C language. Um, and that mostly just relates to like my print statements and my scan statements, how my strings are thrown in there. For my scan statements, how you end up pulling values and addressing them properly. Um, Everything else, for the most part, has been relatively the same. This is my first time ever using Java. I'm going to address the problem that we have here. So the problem that we have is we want to first list what our wall area is, which is going to be our wall height times our wall width. That's going to come out to our wall area. We're next going to give the actual fluid amount of paint that we need, which is going to be our wall area divided by about 350 based off this example that we have here. After that, we need to determine, okay, I have this fluid amount of paint that I'm going to be using. In order to satisfy that amount, how many cans of paint do I need? Which is going to be an integer rather than being a double, which is going to be a decimal value. So what I do in my main, I have created 4 doubles, one for my wall area, which is determined by my wall width and my wall height. Down here, I have the amount of gallons of paint that I use, which, as it's going through, these go into this. This is divided by 350 to create gallons of paint. Save there. And then my gallons of paint, or my cans of paint, excuse me. The cans of paint is kind of tricky because I have a float, which is a fraction of a number, which I need to satisfy with a whole one number. What I ended up doing was, I'm going to use this as an example. I ran 500 by 20, which gave me a 10,000 foot area, which means I'm going to use 28.57 gallons of paint. Well, in order to satisfy 28.57, if I make it into an int, that's only going to give me 28 cans. But if I make it 28 plus 1, that's going to give me 29 cans, which will satisfy that number. For my whole code, the first 2 things I want to do are I want to be able to bring in these 2 libraries. The utility scanner is going to be for my scan statements, which read the I/O from my keyboard. And then my import for math. In C language, this would just be the math.h library, which is the same thing. That allows me to do basic math functions, essentially. Now, in my main, I've declared my variables here. Int is going to be cans of paint because it needs to be one solid number. I have my first print statement where I'm going to collect my wall height. I have a string, enter the wall height in feet, after which I'm going to enter in the height, and I do the same thing for the width. So once I've collected my values, I run the math. Well, my wall area is going to be my height times my width. Boom, there's my wall area. Then in order to get my gallons of paint, the fluid amount I'm going to be using, I'm going to divide wall area by 350. I need to make sure that this is a float. Actually, it shouldn't really matter because this is already a float. But then the cans of paint, like I said, it's going to be kind of tricky. I want to turn gallons of paint into an integer in order to initialize it being a solid number. that number is going to round down, so I need to add 1 to it. And then print, have a new line at the end. This is my string. I'm going to call the variable wall area. Print again, how much fluid paint I use. And then print one more time with a new line. This is my string, and I'm going to be calling the amount of cans of paint that I use. And I hope you've enjoyed my presentation.